This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 1844, The Batman Movie Review. Welcome to Comic Geek Speak. I'm Ian Levinstein.
I'm Shane Kelly.
And I'm Adam Murdo.
I fully expected you to say, I'm Batman, Shane.
I was trying to, but I was trying to watch what I was doing and being stupid.
I'm vengeance.
Nice, nice. And joining us for the first time in quite some time, longtime friend of the show, super show attendee and exhibitor, and he's got that Gil Kane. It's Julian Lytle.
What's up, folks? Glad to finally be back in the 20s.
Yeah, I know, right? I was looking at the last time you were on, man. It was like it was at least like 2018 or so. So yeah, it's a whole new decade of Lytle.
All new times.
At least you didn't say episode 25 or something like that.
No,
that
no. that would have been ridiculous. According to the archives, if I bring it up again here, the last episode you were on was episode 1357. Oh wow, it's been even longer than I thought. Damn. Okay, well, it's a good thing that we got you now because it was almost.
I think Obama was still president. Obama was still president.
April 14th, 2013, episode 1357.
Wow.
Was it about?
That's
Batman?
almost 10 years.
No, it was a webcomics panel actually.
Okay.
This was the Super Show panel. That's what it was.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. That was the one that Joe Sergi moderated, and then it was.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yep. You,
Jeez.
Bill Ellis, Danielle Corsetto, and Comfort and Love, Katie Cook, and Mike Norton.
Wow.
Whole different time.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All names I love saying though, because that's the good times right there.
Yep.
Well, Chris Eberly will hopefully be joining us a little bit later on in today's episode. But before then, we're gonna get rolling here and get our initial impressions on The Batman, the new Matt Reeves film, brand new take on the character, and this is the seventh take we've gotten in movies. But hey, it's all good and all different. And
Yeah.
Before we get there, we're sponsored by you, the listeners. Finger guns. You, and I point to, just like Murd there, patreon.com/comicgeekspeak. We thank you so much for your continued support of the show, and every single one of you help these episodes come out in a timely fashion. We hope that you continue to support the show in one way or the other. If you don't have a Patreon account, you can still do it the old-fashioned way over at comicgeekspeak.com/donate.php. and follow the PayPal link there, or just send us an iTunes review, or let your friend know, let your cousin know, let your cousin's cousin know, or just let your neighbor know, and spread the word that way. And that's all it takes to be a well-earned friend of the show. Comic Geek Speak thanks you at patreon.com/comicgeekspeak. All right, let's get into it. This movie was long. It was 3 hours. But Julian,
Yes,
I'm gonna start it off with you, buddy, since since you're the guest here. Initial impressions on the Batman. How did it work for you?
I thought it was really successful. It's a really strong take on the character.
Mhm.
It had great pacing, good story structure, played well with the themes. All the actors was on point. The whole plot, the antagonist of the Riddler worked.
Yeah.
The use of Catwoman, going back to that younger Batman, I think was actually a bit more effective in this film than it was in the Bale films. Because he actually did feel younger.
Yeah.
And still figuring things out.
Yeah.
Great use of music. Love the new Batman theme.
Yep.
Great cinematography. Great new start. You know, I need to see it a couple more times. I'm looking forward to when it's on HBO Max, so I can sit back and
Yep.
give it another once over before I say like where it actually sits within the pantheon.
Yep.
Can't go with that recency bias, you know. But yo, my man Matt Reeves, I've been down with him since he had my man Koba, the ape on the course with the F-16s coming destroy them humans. You know, I've been down with him since then, so
Yep.
I knew he was gonna knock it out the park.
Yeah, I mean, he breathed new life into those Planet of the Apes movies. I mean, the first
Yeah.
one was way different than the ones that he put out afterwards.
Oh yeah,
but it got the job done, and that's why I was looking forward to what we had to see here, and you know, we got what we got, so it's all good. Mr. Eberly joins us.
Brethren, good to see you. Julian, welcome.
hello.
We literally just got started, Chris. So you didn't.
Oh,
you didn't
terrific.
Much. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just roll right into you then, since you just went ahead and joined, and give us your initial thoughts on the film. What'd you think?
All right. Let me preface by saying that usually when I see a comic book related film, I usually form an opinion pretty quickly, and usually it doesn't change very much.
Yeah.
This movie was a struggle. I left the theater really struggling to form an opinion of it. And I spent days thinking about it. Like, what do I really think of this film? And when we were talking off the air last week, when we did our last recording, I kind of at that point have finally come to where I stand on it. And my introductory comments, the best thing to say is, for me, it's a movie that the parts are better than the sum.
Okay.
And there were there were elements of it that I thought were magnificent, but for me, what makes a good Batman film, and let me caveat, it's different because we've had a gazillion Batman films since 2005, so I understand you're going to go in a different direction, but there were elements of this film that I found profoundly lacking, and I probably will not see it again.
Wow.
Okay. So usually, like when I love a comic book film, or even have it like relatively enjoy one, I'll watch it over. Like Shane will have it on in the background, things like that. This film, I doubt I will see again. Okay. I'll watch Colin Farrell's The Penguin till the end of time.
Well, and you'll have the opportunity to watch.
Yeah, I know I will, but
yeah.
I think the fundamental, and we'll expand on this later. The fundamental problem I have with this movie, and I'm not blaming Robert Pattinson because I think he's an excellent actor. The portrayal of Batman in this movie completely took me out of it, almost from the beginning, and I never got it back.
All right. Well, we'll certainly get in further depth of that as we move forward. But Murd, let's roll it over to you. What'd you think?
Okay. Well, I was pretty engrossed in this movie, I have to say. It's certainly it's literally and perhaps figuratively the darkest take on Batman we've seen thus far. I thought, it was 3 hours long, as has been pointed out, but I feel like it did a lot of things to justify that runtime. I was engrossed most of the time. There's very little fat that I feel should have been trimmed off of it. I thought it was actually pretty well paced. Aesthetically, I think it succeeded on pretty much every level. Just the look and feel of things, the design of Gotham as a city, concept design of a lot of the locales and vehicles. It was all very much on point, and I agree with Julian that the score was fantastic. And Michael Giacchino's music, just that recurring theme, dum 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 dum. That was marching along with me for days after I left the theater. So, it's. I'm with Chris in that it's a movie that stayed with me and continued to occupy my thoughts for some time after I saw it, which in and of itself is a mark of a quality production. Yes, I came to a somewhat different conclusion from the one that Chris did, because I did like this take on Batman. I thought Pattinson's portrayal, I mean, he brought across the torment of the character very well. And as Julian said, this is a young Batman, and that came across better here than in the Christian Bale Christopher Nolan movies. He hasn't figured a lot of things out. He's still kind of reeling from his parents' death, and he's still feeling very driven towards, some vague end of vengeance. And his arc is figuring out that his his goal as the Batman shouldn't simply be to be vengeance, whatever that means. It's, to help people along the way, not just to get back at whatever vague forces of crime and social decay took his parents from him, but to help the other people who are suffering from those same factors. So that was a good thing. I thought the takes on most of the characters were, if not spot on, at least interesting interpretations. There was one I didn't care for all that much, which I'm sure we'll get to in a bit. On the level of story, just plot structure, linear flow of events from point A to B to C, I thought it got a little bit murky at spots. It's not the best structured film, I would argue. But just in terms of the feel and just a theme and take of the character, this is a good Bat movie, and it's hopefully the start of 2 or 3, like a trilogy or more of movies in this vein from this same creative source.
Yep, and I know that Matt Reeves has been discussing potentially having Mr. Freeze be the villain in the next one, or at least that's what he's pitching. So we'll see if that's the direction they actually go with the second movie. But I am very intrigued to see what his take on that character would be.
Schwarzenegger has set the bar pretty low.
Yeah,
Nice to see you.
Kill the heroes.
he's Mr. Icicle.
Oh no!
That might have been my favorite part of that movie, actually.
Yeah, I won't disagree with you.
Here without
I
a
thought it
Santa
was
Claus.
hilarious.
I just watched a video the other day on Batman and Robin that it was the YouTube series What Happened that Matt Muscles does, and he went over the fact that Arnold Schwarzenegger had a specific contract that said how many hours he was allowed to be on set, which is why they had to basically film all of his shots whenever they could and then film around him, which is also why you saw so many shots from the back, because they were all stand-ins. That's it just made a lot more sense that way.
Yeah.
Shane, over to you. What'd you think?
Well, I'll tell you, I went into this not really having much expectation. I didn't like the trailers all that much. I was not thrilled with some of the design you saw in the trailers. However, after watching it, I was pleasantly surprised. I enjoyed it way more than I thought I would. I do have a couple problems with some of the story plot points. They're not major. They're just more my personal taste than I think anything else.
Yeah.
I still don't like the design of the Riddler, but I like the character. I just don't like the garbage pail thrown together rain slicker kind of costume. But again, that's me being nitpicky about it. Considering everybody else's outfits look really, really good, I did not like his. But I thought he was a pretty good Riddler. I liked this inexperienced Batman, a little bit too vengeful in the beginning, but again, he was new, and that's what he was focused on, to the point where he even kind of snapped at Alfred in the beginning about it. But his growth in the movie after seeing the boy, after getting to the end of the film, impressed me a little bit more in the direction they took him in. I liked, like Adam and Julian, everyone has said, the cinematic surroundings. The score was phenomenal. The set design was great. The cinematography was awesome. It was just a little darker, but I liked it that way in this capacity versus other ones, which I think are too dark just to be too dark in lighting. This made more sense. Most of it took place at night, which also makes sense. But I was pleasantly surprised at the end of it. I didn't feel it was too long, and my bladder certainly helped me with that. I didn't feel like it was too long. But I want to watch it again, and I have to watch it again because only one of my sons could go this weekend. The other one couldn't. So I'm going to go with him, but I am looking forward to when it's on HBO Max. And I can just kind of sit back and relax with drink some snacks in front of my big TV and watch it there too. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with a lot of it.
They haven't said yet when it's going to be on HBO Max, but the common idea is that it's going to be on it way sooner than we would think. Just for the
I thought like mid-April or
It should
something
be
like that.
mid-April, going
April
by
19th
the,
or something.
Okay,
going
good.
by the dates.
Yeah.
It's 45-day window, and somebody high up within Warner said it's going to HBO Max
Okay.
as soon as it's up. So 45 days from release, it should be mid-April.
Nice. I'll share this meme real quick since you mentioned the darkness. I've seen versions of this meme going around on the increasing dark levels of Batman.
I didn't even get that. Thank you. Like I was like, what does this mean? It's like I was like, Robert Pattinson's still gonna be Batman in 2025. He signed on for 3 movies.
Yeah.
Like
You just won't be able to see him.
Yeah, right. I'll tell you guys, my expectations of this movie were not that high. I expected to enjoy it. I personally didn't really enjoy Joker that much. I
didn't even watch Joker yet.
And we mentioned it on the show that I felt like it was trying to be something else rather than its own movie. I felt it was trying to be a Scorsese, and in doing so, that was kind of its shortcomings. It wasn't nearly as good as the movies that came before it, that had like King of Comedy and stuff like that. That it was homaging.
Oh, King of Comedy is amazing.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
With this here, I was hoping to get something different enough from other iterations of Batman that we got. And what I got was essentially my Batman. This is the, this is very much, and it's set by the score of the, Nirvana at the beginning. Like this is a grunge Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is a Batman that is street level more than anything else. Way more so than Bale. Way more so than Keaton, and obviously way more so than Bat Credit Card or anything of the sort. Out of that camp. But the aesthetics of this movie just absolutely work for me. The cinematography is superb. I felt it was well directed. It's excellent acting all around. Easily the best Catwoman and Batman interactions we've gotten on screen so far. I personally, I like Michelle Pfeiffer, don't get me wrong. But this felt the most like what we've gotten out of DC Comics in the later years. Like more of equals than anything else. Like this is the Catwoman you would have seen in the Catwoman ongoing in the 90s and 2000s, and even the Tom King stuff. Later on, I feel like, but I love this thing. Like, I barely even noticed it was 3 hours. There are some flaws. I will admit that. Some bits could have been cut out here and there, but overall, I was enraptured, and it completely took me by surprise. I was not going into this thinking that this would be my favorite iteration of Batman that I've seen so far. And it may very well be that. I will have to watch it again to see if it's as Julian put it, like recency bias. But I don't think it's going to go that way. I think I'm going to watch it again and enjoy it even more. Yeah, I was floored. So
yeah,
go ahead.
I have to say I really enjoyed the more of a detective aspect of this one, even though he didn't have everything figured out. I think a more seasoned Batman would have anticipated some of the stuff that happened, right. But that's not where he is. I just really enjoyed that aspect rather than the flashbang superhero stuff we were getting in recent years. Not that that's bad. I still enjoy it. And I still watch every Batman movie that's ever been produced. I watch every now and then. I still enjoy all of them to a certain extent, but I really did enjoy getting a little bit more detectiveness out of this than what we've seen previously.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, some of the interactions between Alfred and Batman in this, like even to me, harken back to like the animated series. Just in the way that Alfred was helping out and using his background to assist in ways that Bruce himself would not have been able to at the time with the cipher and what have you. That was great stuff. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with what we got. Which makes me even more interested into what didn't work for Chris and some of the other flaws and what have you. But let's dive deep into it here. I mean, for one thing, let's start at the villain. Let's start at Riddler. Certainly a departure from Jim Carrey.
Definitely.
Something.
They had the same glasses though.
That's true. You're right, actually. Yeah. That's the one thing, and sort of a question mark at times. But this was more of a like dark web Riddler than we've gotten in the past. and I'll mention something when we get later on that I thought that they were actually hearkening at least a little bit to the Hush animated series, the animated movie, that is.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I thought we were going down that road, and
Yep.
So did I.
and we didn't quite get there. But still, I mean, what's everybody think about Riddler here? I mean, again, major departure, but still, I think the bones were still there.
Yeah,
I liked all the riddles part of it that went through, but I really liked that he thought he was helping Batman, and a little bit twisted in that thought. That was completely something I wasn't quite going for. But I really enjoyed that part of it when you really realize that towards the end that he's really not altogether there at all.
Yeah, you realize that in his mind, he's not challenging or taunting Batman, as is usually the MO in the comics, but in his mind, he thinks he's sending coded messages to an ally.
Yeah.
Which is
an
interesting twist.
The partners are cleaning up the city. I like the, first of all, Paul Dano's performance worked very well.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when you get to the end where he really starts unraveling once he's incarcerated.
Yeah.
The interesting thing where, like, there's all that, even in continuity, the debate about Batman and Gotham, and did he inspire and bring about the costume villains to Gotham. I like how it played with that concept by having the Riddler saying, "Oh, yo, we're the same. This is why he dresses up in that costume. The costume is bootleg on purpose. He don't got the same resources Bruce has. So it's you know, I'm gonna make my little nose guard just like Batman does. I'm put all these things together. I like that he looked like the Zodiac killer from Fincher's Zodiac. I like when filmmakers is like, you know what you haven't seen before? You haven't seen somebody play with the Fincher style on a superhero movie. You know, that's what we're gonna play with. I liked how it was like basically like a army surplus gear. He got some crappy paint. I'm putting my little symbol on here. He don't got the same resources. He don't got the same money.
I get it. Yeah, I know.
You know, like it plays into the whole dark like the other side, the other coin. We're so used to seeing Batman and Joker being played as two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
You see a filmmaker and storytellers flip it where you make the Riddler an orphan, but he's poor. He lost everything as well. Like all these bad things happened and the corruption in the city ruined his life, just as crime and corruption in the city ruined Bruce's life. So, you know, those bad events birthed the Riddler just like they birthed Batman. So, it worked for me. Paul Dano, it was a great play. He had some great riddles going on. There were great setups for these corrupt people. I was with it.
The thumb drive. The thumb drive was what made it for me. Like that was classic Riddler, even if it was, you know, messed up, that it was an actual literal thumb.
I loved it. I chuckled. I chuckled. I couldn't be a superhero because I laugh. I'd be like, that's funny. That's you know, they had Harvey Bullock. He'd be like, that's sick, but that's hilarious.
Yeah. That's the one guy we didn't get in this movie, and I wonder.
Too early.
You're right. You're right. He'll probably be there in the sequel, more than likely.
He'll be coming. Montoya will be coming.
Yep. Chris, what'd you think of the Riddler?
I had mixed feelings. I really appreciate Paul Dano as an actor. I've enjoyed him in everything I've seen him do. So I was pleased that, you know, they gave him the role. And I mean, in general, like, see, here's the thing. See, I'm going to walk back for a second because Ian, you inspired me.
Sure.
I will watch this movie a second time to see if I have the same mixed feelings that I have now. But I'll wait till HBO Max. I don't have another 3 hours of my life to go to a theater.
Of course.
But I agree with Julian when he said the riddles. I thought all that was really well done. I liked the whole take on his look and where he came from. I thought it was a really interesting new angle on the character. And again, a great departure from people's preconceptions about the Riddler, if they had any going into the movie. I think the only part that kind of turned me off a bit, when they have their confrontation at Arkham at the end, my attitude was like, I kind of already saw this with the Joker in Dark Knight. And I found that scene riveting. And this I felt was like a poor Offspring. It didn't resonate with me the same way. But overall, I really enjoyed his performance and the way they portrayed the Joker in the film. So overall, I liked it.
Yeah.
Well, and I can understand that, Chris. My only thing, the way the Joker was portrayed was he had already figured all of that out in his head, how it was going to play out.
Yeah.
Even though Christian Bale's Batman kind of could figure some of that stuff out, Joker still played him. Whereas in this one, I appreciated it a little bit more because of getting to that point where Batman was ready to give it up if Riddler knew, because he assumed Riddler knew with the way he talked to Gordon on the way out. Yeah. But just to see his warped mind twist and the disparity in his face and his discussion at that time, once Batman said, no, we're nothing alike. That's where it differed for me compared to the Joker. I appreciated the departure for the Riddler more in that he thought he was Batman's equal versus the Joker, who was manipulating Batman the whole time.
Right. Yeah.
I what I like about that scene is that Matt Reeves was playing us. He set up a scene that is basically the end of Hush. And we know the end of Hush.
Yeah.
We know the way it goes. And then you get to the point where it doesn't go the way you expect it. Every people sitting in the audience, they just watch the Batman movies. That whole setup with like, oh man, the Riddler figured it out. Like, you doing this in the beginning, they're gonna change everything. And he gets to the whole thing, it's just like, oh, he just trashing on Bruce, just going in on Bruce. And then it's like, oh, you don't know oh no, you're terrible, you sick. No, we're nothing alike. You suck. You ruined the city. It's like the relief in Batman when he's like screaming on him, like he doesn't know who I am. Yeah.
Oh my God. Matt Reeves played us so hard, and it was delightful because Julian, like the entire time I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, is he doing what I think he's doing in the first Batman movie?
They literally have a mirror with Hush on it.
Yeah.
Like leading up to that point, I'm like, well, like, okay, this is for us. Yeah. So this whole thing, and then just like it works within the film, and then it works as like, you thought you knew what I was doing. Nah.
I thought for sure by the end Tommy Elliott would show up somewhere.
Yeah. When we were teased that the reporter whom Thomas Wayne accidentally had killed was named Edward Elliot.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're thinking maybe Edward Nashton gave himself that alias from his father's first name, and that could still be canon ultimately, because when the GCPD caught him, he had two different IDs on him, so both of them could have been fake. He could still be, Edward Elliott's son, but just for the purposes of this movie, that's off the table.
They even dropped Hush Money, and when I heard that line. Like it was like right after the whole Elliot thing came down, like oh they did it over Hush Money. I'm like, Hush Money, Hush. Wait a minute, are we doing Hush?
Yeah.
and no, we weren't. But that's okay.
People who don't like this take on the Riddler can just tell themselves that this was really a Hush story all along.
Yeah, which honestly, like I'm perfectly okay with the movies taking bits and pieces from lore and crafting their own tale. And I think that may very well be what Matt Reeves was doing as well, taking a little bit of Hush and add a little bit of Riddler and baking a delicious pie out of it. That's just the way we're going. And by the way, Pie Day was yesterday, so I just missed that reference. I just missed it. But no, specifically the stuff with the identity, like the Bruce Wayne is not you. I don't know who you are.
The only one we didn't get is Bruce. I'm like, what?
I was sitting there like, good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yep.
Good job.
That's a swerve. That's a swerve.
Yep.
Now, I know earlier somebody had said about Batman and Joker always played as two sides of the same coin, and I don't disagree with that in a lot of the comics for a lot of years. But something that's always stuck in the back of my head, and why I also didn't mind this Riddler being a little bit more of an equal to Batman, I always thought, and this is going all the way back to the Adam West Batmans, I always thought Riddler was more diabolical than the Joker in the TV show. And the Riddler by Frank Gorshin and even John Astin was always way more threatening to me to Batman than any of the other villains on the show for the most part. I just always found their portrayal, even back on that show, a little bit more chaotic.
Yeah, just to display the many iterations of Riddler, and I had to mention. I'm glad they mentioned Gotham because that Riddler is also an excellent Riddler.
Yeah,
it's in a very different way. But yeah, no, I think that the Riddler could easily be a foil or a other side of the coin to Batman in just the chaos that Riddler brings with him most of the time. In a very different way than the Joker does, because the Joker, like, he's not about making you guess. The Joker's just going to walk up to you and shoot you with a bullet. Like, that's it. You know, that's the way he rolls. He'll do it for laughs, but he's not going to make you, go around in circles first to make it happen. And that's what can be the most frightening about Riddler, and was the most frightening in this movie, is that, a year 2 Batman didn't get it all right. And it wound up costing Gotham City, severely in the process.
I was surprised. I could hear it behind me somewhere. I went on Saturday when it was snowing here, and if you looked online, most of the seats were sold. But when you got there and the movie started, half of them were empty. So I don't think most people made it because of the snow, which didn't bother me because it was nice and quiet for the most part. But there was a young kid, couple rows behind me. You could hear him talking through the movie, and I can block that stuff out having kids myself. But I thought, especially in the beginning when he was so brutal, this is not a Batman movie for kids at all.
Yep. Yep. And I there was at least one person who had like 4 and 5 year olds with them for this movie, and I hope we weren't watching. Let's just put it that way.
I think the industry and licensing and things that go along with it do a disservice to kids when they're producing all these toys, kids, and nice kid toys to play with. I mean, 3 3/4 stuff, well built, fairly inexpensive in today's standards, but they're everywhere. So, well, sure, let's take the kids to go see Batman. Nope, that would not have worked here.
I blame the adults on that one, because
I won't disagree either.
Because at that point, this movie isn't marketed for little kids.
No, it's not. Not
like
at all.
A 6th grader, yeah.
Like,
you cool. Maybe a 5th grader, like 5th, 6th and up. You good. This ain't made for the 5-year-olds. That was Lego Batman.
Yeah.
They made that movie.
Yep.
And they're probably gonna make another one. They make games for that.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's on you. So if you took them, I know I talked to parents like they didn't care. But if you take the kid to this and you expect the X, Y, Z after those trailers, which showed you what was good, like he getting shot in the chest and walking through it. He got a car explosions. He beating people down.
Yeah.
Like, nah, this nah.
And if you're just going on, look, they made all these toys, it must be okay. No, you gotta look a little bit more about
those
that.
expensive toys anyway, too. Those aren't 5-year-old toys. Those are
honestly, this is a PG-13 that's closer to like a PG-16. Like, it's like there is no rating for that unless you do R, and they weren't going to do R because
it messes up the money.
Exactly, it messes up the money. But this could have easily been an R-rated movie. Add in a little bit more blood and a few more Fs, and then it's an R-rated movie without much trouble. It's certainly the grimiest of the Batman movies in that way.
I don't know if it was the grimiest, man. I don't know.
Huh? Which one then?
Yo, Dark Knight has some stuff in it, bro.
Fair.
Dark Knight has some stuff.
Yeah. Dark Knight. I don't watch Dark Knight very often because that one messes me up. that one's a little too close to what could actually happen in the world.
Dark Knight Rises. Bane blew up a football stadium full of people. Like, like they have a nuclear weapon going around the city. He's threatening to go. Like, so I don't know. Like, I know people say this is the darkest, but like it's more localized. You do get to see like people in bad situations, but like, Ben Affleck was beating. It was full Arkham Asylum game where he was beating people up in Batman vs Superman. I was like, I was like, oh man, he broke his back. So there's some rough stuff. I don't want to like downplay it, but like
no, and I hear you on that because it's just been the trend, and and frankly, I mean, I don't think this is a bad thing necessarily, because there's tons of Batman comics out there that trend this way, and frankly,
Most of them.
most of them, exactly.
They don't make kid Batman comics.
No, well,
They
they
haven't
do.
made that the entire we've been alive. Like Batman has been.
They do, and he teams up with Scooby Doo. Like that's
Yeah.
like there's
Or Batman Brave and the Bold, Batman
Exactly.
Adventures,
Right.
definitely
Yeah.
more kid friendly.
100%.
You know, Ian, one of the things to piggyback on your point that I really struck me in a positive way was the whole tone of the film, the story they were telling. It felt like I was reading, a modern Batman comic.
Absolutely.
Like let's say going back to the, I don't know, like 1990s forward. Like it
Sure.
had that feel of, like I went with Ryan. He made a good point. So, he said the next movie they could take use the flood and make it the whole Gotham shut off from what is that story called again? I just
No Man's
No
Land.
Man's Land.
No
they
man.
make it no man's land basically
Yeah.
with the flood. So I did enjoy the tone for the most part, with some notable exceptions they set in the movie.
At first, I wasn't sure I liked this. The very first couple minutes when you hear it was a little distracting, but I really enjoyed it as the movie went on until the end. His Rorschach-esque talking over what was happening in the film.
God, that took me out of it. Oh
Okay.
boy.
So
At first, it did to me too. It took me a little while, but I got into it after a while.
now you mentioned Rorschach specifically, and you're not the first person to say that.
Oh yeah, it
and-
totally
and-
sounded like that to me.
But here's my counterpoint, which is the way that Rorschach goes about it. Like, you can tell you're talking to a crazy person. Like it's December 5th, 1945. I sat my beans down on the table. They were dirty. grimy.
Right. No, I
but-
just mean that they use that at all.
Right.
That,
Oh,
that
see,
thought balloon.
but that's. Oh, my bad, Ian.
No. It's all good, Julian, because I think we're about to say this, the same thing, basically. Like,
it just like it was the narration boxes.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
we got
Absolutely.
rid of thought balloons and we went to narration boxes, and I hear them
yeah,
saying it's like, oh, this
Yeah.
is just like when you read a comic book these days, because I can't get no thought balloons no more.
yeah.
I gotta read these boxes with blue behind it with a little bat symbol.
That symbol.
Like,
Yep.
That's his internal monologue.
Yeah.
I don't get thought balloons no more. And also, like in Long Halloween, he had
that's
the
all
little
it is.
that's Jeff Lowe probably
Yeah.
probably got a nice check. Just saying.
Oh yeah.
Because there was a lot. They was like
Yeah.
it was 65% Long Halloween.
Oh, definitely.
The thing
So-
opened on Halloween night, and it ended
Yeah, I was like,
the next holiday, Election Day. So
I was,
Yep.
I was like, let's go. Like I was like,
It was Long Halloween meets Batman Year 2.
little When in Rome was trickled in there. I was like, I see
Yep.
you.
Mhm.
little
I
hush.
see you.
Mhm.
Yeah, you was
With
cooking.
Hush, yeah, and frankly, the narration didn't take me out of it until the very last narration, which I felt was one narration too many.
Hmm.
But that I was the exact same way as usually, and it wasn't Rorschach to me; it was comic book, and that's the way it went.
The only reason I say Rorschach is because that first time it sounds the way it was toned sounded so much like Rorschach and Watchmen. But
Yeah.
once I got over that in the first couple minutes and realized we're talking narration boxes,
Right.
yeah, I was totally into it then for the whole rest of the movie.
Fair enough. Yeah, because that's just it. Like tone wise, I don't think it was Rorschach. I think it was just telling you what was going on, and that's just
Right.
something that like I need to separate myself from, because again, I've heard that from critics. So like I want to make sure that this was not Watchmen, even though
No.
they did kind of pull Watchmen at the end with I did it 30 minutes ago with Riddler and the bombs, but that's its own story.
Now, something I want to ask you all, if you noticed before I forget, because I forgot earlier when I was going to say it.
Yeah.
In the beginning, we see Batman on the subway with the gang of Joker-esque like looking crazies.
Yes.
Yeah, the
And there's
Joker.
the one kid that's half painted because he's not fully into it yet.
Right.
Mhm.
This is a part of his initiation.
Yeah.
Yes. That kid
Yeah.
is, sorry,
Tim Drake.
spoilers for everybody on Titans. That kid is Tim Drake, I think, on Titans.
Yeah, it is. It's the actor.
Oh, okay.
And I thought,
Hmm.
are they
It's
going
pub-
down that path now?
It was publicized, but I think an actor got a job,
That's what which is great. It's just
and I think it
coincidental.
worked as like a hey.
Yeah.
I really do think that I think from the way Matt Reeves talks,
Yeah.
I think they're going full. I
Dick
think
Grayson.
we're getting a Dick Grayson. We're going to get the like
Mhm.
Batman is going to have a kid with him. That everything in this movie when he sees the son of the mayor is just like that's part of his failure. Like never
Yeah.
have a kid have go through what he went through.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think like they're leading up to that. But that being said, they can swerve
Mhm.
and they could be Robins. They
Yeah.
can go.
Sure.
They could
Sure.
be more than one. Because at this point, we're never gonna get this long running
No.
thing of movies with the same actor. So if you just jump the course and you got like, Batman got a bunch of kids out here drop kicking people in the throat.
Mhm.
Yeah. And because of what Batman did for him, that could totally turn him to, well,
Yeah,
I
I'm
wanna
not gonna
do
mess
that.
with these jokers no more. These
Right.
jokers out here getting beat up. I can't.
I first saw it, I'm like, I really think that's him. And I came home and I'm Googling, I'm like, oh my God, that was him.
It
Yeah.
Now,
definitely,
again, I agree.
definitely-
Probably just an
definitely-
acting job,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it was cool.
definitely just an Easter egg because clearly this is this is not the same universe because that
No,
has a Batman and he's played by a Game of Thrones alum.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're going there with this, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get Dick Grayson. I also wouldn't be surprised if we got Jason Todd.
Oh, yeah.
And eventually got to Death in the Family and then possibly follow it up with a Red Hood. But we'll see which direction they decide to go with that in and of itself.
Whichever one we get, I hope it's at least a minor and not fully adult Chris O'Donnell being adopted by another adult man.
Yeah.
Again, I want to see a kid kicking somebody in the throat. I don't want to see
Yes.
no grown man.
Yes.
Like, look at that kid out here. I want to see Jim Gordon's face. It's like you really out here with a minor right now.
Yep.
You really out, and the minor's really punching people in
Looking
the
the other
face.
way on child endangerment now.
I want to see that scene in the Death in the Family animated film when Jason Todd's flipping around, beating the crap out of everybody and taking it just a little bit too far, and Batman's got to rein him in. Like he just a little bit off the deep end there, but it's a great scene.
Well, since you mentioned him, let's talk about the supporting cast, and let's specifically go to Jeffrey Wright, who is great in literally everything.
Yeah.
But holy cow, his Commissioner Gordon, like
Lieutenant.
oh,
Lieutenant.
God.
Lieutenant. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yes, Lieutenant Gordon. He will eventually be Commissioner Gordon, but yes, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and also ironic because he's Batman in the radio dramas on HBO Max.
Yes, he is. And listening to his voice as he, sidekicks for Batman here, just the intensity.
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, he could play Batman himself. And then I realize, oh, it's Jeffrey Wright, and he has.
Yeah. Right.
It's Jeffrey Wright. He has already.
And he's also Uatu. He's also
Yeah.
Uatu.
Yeah. He is.
He's gonna be a both friend. He's gonna be a both mega company movies to watch.
Let's think of how many actors have already done both in this movie. Now I'm blanking on his name. The guy who played Alfred.
Andy Serkis.
Andy
Yeah, Andy
Serkis.
Serkis.
Andy Serkis has been in both.
Wasted Claw.
Yep, Jeffrey Wright has been in both. We'll discuss who's playing a certain Laughing Man, but he's been in both. Eternals and now here in the Batman. But yeah, a bunch of people are DC and Marvel. But Jeffrey Wright for me is the first contemporary Commissioner Gordon to Batman. And I'm going to keep saying commissioner, even though I mean lieutenant. James Gordon. I'm just going to stick with James Gordon. But what I loved about this movie is that there was genuine camaraderie, and also so many instances of you're going to let him through. Let him through. He knows what he's doing. and that's the type of back and forth between the cops and Batman that I was looking for. That's been severely lacking in these movies up until now. Loved it.
See, Ian, I had a totally different reaction to those scenes.
Fair enough.
I love, first of all, when I talk about the part of this movie, the actors they assembled for this film, anything John Turturro is in, I'm watching immediately.
I didn't even know he was in it, so that blew me away when I saw him.
So all these performances were wonderful. I think, and this kind of goes back to the part of the movie that I'm really struggling with.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's also just my take on Batman, what I like about Batman, and the year 2 version of Batman. It's just not my favorite version of Batman.
Right.
And the way they interpret that here, for me, when Batman walks into a room, full of police and forensics and whatever else.
Mm-hmm.
And no one shows any sense of awe.
Mm.
And they're just like, oh, there's Batman. I'm like, what? Like that took, like, those scenes like that took me out of the film significantly.
Wait, I don't see, because I read that as they was disgusted.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's valid too. I just, to me, Batman is a mythic character, and I get it because he's a new character in this version, so maybe you won't have that as much. But
right.
It's for me, like in the beginning when those thugs are attacking that guy, and then he walks out of the shadows. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he's like at a crime scene, there's like, okay, it's Batman. He's a vigilante. We don't like him. I mean, I think Julian is right about that. But it just, for me, it took me out of it, because if someone who is like this essentially mythical being who is like beating the crap out of people in the shadows, somebody shows up at a crime scene, everybody's just like, oh, he's here. It just
I won't
didn't work for me
disagree
at
with
all.
you there.
Didn't work for me
Yeah.
at all.
For me, when Batman's looking at a crime scene, it's usually when the cops are not there. Gordon might let him in, but he's about the only one that knows it for the most part. Now,
Mhm.
Batman, the animated series, let you see that a lot more with his interaction with the cops. So that's
Right.
where it didn't seem as odd to me, but I won't disagree with your take on that I understand where you're coming from with it.
Which you just hit the nail on the coffin there, Shane, that Batman the animated series. And for me, more than any Batman comic book, that's the Batman that I relate to the most. Is that's my Batman, and this was pretty darn close to that in a lot of aspects. And yes, with year two, as you said, Chris, there's limitations to the shock and awe, part of Batman, because he hasn't gained that yet. He doesn't have the right to that yet. I do believe that as we move forward with these movies, you will see more of that, because frankly, by then, when he's a myth, when he's a legend, when he's saved the city countless times, and these newer cops only know that he has this relationship with Gordon, and that's it. And by then, he's Commissioner Gordon and has this standing. I believe we're going to get a lot more of that shock and awe than we do right now. But for now, he's street level just like everybody else. And he's frankly just doing his best to put this crime away, and that's the Riddler, and he's working with the cops.
Ian, as always, your argument is superb, and I won't try to counter it. I would just say that if he's been Batman for 2 years,
mm-hmm.
and he's known to be running around the city going after criminals in the shadows,
yeah,
and he's clearly a highly dangerous individual because the police can't stop him.
Yeah.
And then he shows up at a crime scene in his armored suit. I mean, if I was a cop, I'd be like, holy shit. Like, and they're like, oh, there he is, and pass the donut. It just didn't work for me. That's all.
I can understand that.
It seemed like in that movie, when the movie starts, because I like the way in which Gordon walks him in, and the level of sauce, swag that he's walking in there. It seems like that not only this isn't the first time Jim Gordon has brought him into
mm-hmm.
a crime scene,
yeah,
that they don't like. Because to me, it goes back to that early Batman, where Batman was fighting crooked cops, crooked politicians,
mm-hmm.
and all them terrible rich people in the city.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? He don't got the purple gloves on in the movie, but other ways, this is still purple glove era Batman. Like,
oh, sure. Yeah.
It's like, yo.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
Because for me, Batman, full NWA F the police, I'm with. I was like, let's go. You don't like me, I don't like you. You not doing good at your job. I only like one cop. He's the only one out here doing good stuff.
Uh-huh.
He's the only one that ain't dirty.
Yep.
Because again, they show other stuff in the movie where they show like so many of them cops is dirty. It's just he gonna mess up their bag. He gonna mess things up. I don't like him. You know what I'm saying? He may look crazy. He got a suit on. But yo, Lieutenant Gordon got command. They kind of respected the chain of command. But I feel I could get how that's like, yo, he's a 6 foot something dude
mm-hmm.
with big boots on. So he's even taller than he regularly is. And he do got an armor suit. He got a metal bat thing made out of a gun on his chest. You should be shook. But here's the thing. police should be shook at a lot of things, but they ain't. So until they are, and they shook at the wrong people, and then they get shot. But that's a different conversation. But yeah, that for me it worked because of my viewpoint of the police and my viewpoint of like right now they should all be crooked. Jim Gordon, commissioner, he ain't been sweeping the baddies out.
Right.
Because it feels like that. Like really, the only cop who should never be scared is my man Harvey Bullock. Harvey Bullock is really the main one. Like, I don't care. I hate you, you daggone flying rodent, messing up the crime scene.
Oh man.
But I can't. They gotta put him in. They gotta put him. And my person say, yo, y'all gotta put like a retiring Slam Bradley up in that joint. Like, I don't care about no bat.
Awesome also.
All I need is my fists. And I'm gonna go out here.
Oh, I love Slam Bradley.
In my head, I want Michael Chiklis as Harvey. I think that would be amazing casting. Personally.
Here's another bit of casting that I loved.
Yeah.
But in some ways I thought didn't work, although not because of her. I mean, when I heard Zoe Kravitz was Catwoman, so then Kyle was like, oh, because I am a huge fan of her, and she didn't disappoint me at all in her performance. And I thought the costume was great. I don't know about the headpiece, but
that's my only bad part about her is the headpiece.
The cat suit was awesome. Go ahead, Mert. I'm sorry.
I thought the headpiece, the ski mask, the balaclava, whatever you want to call it, I thought it was brilliant, actually.
All right.
If she would have put the
Pooched out at the
goggles,
sides there to just sort of vaguely evoke cat ears.
yeah,
She's Selena Kyle in this.
Yeah.
She's
right,
not Catwoman.
right.
That's true.
Fair
But
enough.
if she would have gotten on the motorcycle and put the goggles down, not a problem.
But that's minor. I think
Exactly.
and you guys are going to disagree with me probably, but I thought she and Pattinson had zero chemistry. None.
What?
Completely
None.
disagree.
What?
I thought they had no chemistry at all.
Couldn't disagree more if I tried.
Didn't believe it for 1 second.
I believe it every time I see them together. I'm like, yo, if I'm their partner, I'm a little bit stressed.
Yeah.
I actually didn't buy it at first, but as they interacted, I bought that she was pulling him out of his darkness just a little bit.
I think you're right about that.
And also,
you know what it is, fellas. A lot of this, and I'll come back to this later. I don't want to hog it, but my main problem with this film is the main performance, and I'll get into that later. But that's where a lot of this is really coming from, honestly.
well, I think that especially in the scene where she's using those contact lenses and going undercover for him and what have you, like that's where the relationship starts. And I think I love those scenes, even if it was still like, where did he get those things? Like the rest of this technology doesn't quite add up 100%.
He made them. He made them. He was in the lab. He don't go outside.
Yeah, I think
He doesn't
the
go
gadgets.
outside.
To the nighttime.
It's true.
He
To me,
don't go
the
outside.
gadgets.
Plus it's raining all the time. So
That's also
It did
true.
rain an awful lot in Gotham.
Yeah.
I would say the gadgets he had were the ones that were of absolute necessity, and that's where he put his wealth first. The rest of it will come, but to me, something that he came up with for those contact lenses, that was something that he could absolutely use on a daily basis to help himself.
Yeah.
So that's how I took it.
That's fair. No, that's fair. I mean, frankly, like in this day and age, with I mean, hey, we have Julian on, so I might as well bring up when you were walking around with those Google glasses all the time. Like we're one step away from the contact lenses recording everything in this world that we live in. So
yeah,
I'm waiting for my Apple glasses. Let's go. I'm outside. Outside with my Riddler glasses, taping everybody. Like, let's go. I don't care.
facial recognition. Boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
See, for me, what I liked about their relationship, and I get how it cannot work, is that this Bruce ain't never really been with no girls.
That's true.
This Bruce in the house.
Mm-hmm.
This Bruce is he's doing 3 a days.
Yeah.
Growing up. He's doing 3 a days. He's doing crazy cardio. He's just studying, he's learning. He might see a girl he don't really pay no attention. Like one of the movies is influenced on this called Last Days, which is like a Gus Van Sant film that kind of talks about, it's not like the last days of Kurt Cobain or whatever. You see, this man is in his basement.
Yeah.
as a grown dude, he don't nobody see him. He ain't date nobody. He see this woman in the club while he's in the suit. His whole demeanor change up like, who is that?
Yeah.
I got to know her.
Yeah.
And everything, yeah, she gets right up. He's like, I know I got a mission.
Yeah.
She gonna help me with the mission. But
that,
I gotta be around her. I don't know how I'm gonna bring her. I'm gonna go follow her when she go home. I'm gonna be looking at her. She's nice with it, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make sure she don't get caught up by the cops. I'm gonna grab her up because the cops is what? Yeah, man, nah, he hugged her up real close. Then she figured out like, oh, the cops is here. Nah, it was subtle because we're not used to seeing a Batman that's like not good with ladies.
Yeah.
And not putting up the front of Playboy, which he was not. He could have cared less about that side of it.
Right.
Now that will change how he grew it toward the end of the movie. That will all change in the next one a little bit to me. But up to that point, he could have given two shits about the Wayne's name and putting on Playboy attitudes.
And you see, Shane, go ahead, Ian, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, as was perfectly on display when Alfred was letting him know about, the board's coming over. It's like I don't care about the board. Like you go deal with that. I'm gonna go.
I got push-ups to do.
Exactly.
I got push-ups to do.
Go ahead, Chris.
No, because this was my struggle, because again, I get why they're portraying Batman, they're portraying it for this time in his career and this version of it.
Yeah. And
they obviously want to distinguish it from, middle-aged, older Affleck Batman, obviously, because that's the most recent one. So I understand that. I think it's really just like a movie tasting, however you want to put it. Because Robert Pattinson is an excellent actor.
Yeah.
I just found everything was too one note for me. And I get why they were doing that, but I'm like, dude, take the hair out of your eyes. Like, come on. Like, I'm just tired of, like, it was so emo to a point. I was like, he kind of bored me. It was too, and I'm like, all right, like, where's Bruce Wayne? Like, come on. It was. And that's why I'm going to go see the sequel, and why, after your gentleman's superb critique, I will watch this movie at least one more time when it's on HBO. But this is my least favorite, let's call it, version of Batman, because I find it the least interesting, because there's no like Bruce Wayne mask at all. It's just him with his hair in his face.
Yeah.
Going around. And
he had a whole grunge outfit. I like when he came up and it was just a really long sleeve shirt. It was really baggy, and he was like, and it looked like, I was like, is this nails painted black? Like I was like, this is like, he listens to nothing but Pearl Jam, Nirvana.
Well, they were playing Nirvana in the movie.
Soundgarden. He might have a little bit of My Chemical Romance in for some newer stuff. Like that's it. Like, he's in there working. Like, he's just.
I had that Nirvana song stuck in my head. I still have it stuck in my head.
Song.
Yeah.
It's just they use it so well.
They really did.
And never connected those two. I never put like alternative grunge music with Batman.
Yeah.
It's either like heavy hard rock. My personal, maybe we could mix some rap music in there. Maybe some pop ballads. Prince, of course.
Maybe some Prince.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I never thought like, Nirvana though and Batman.
Yeah.
Peas and carrots.
No, it worked. It definitely worked.
And
to
Chris,
go back to Shane. No, go ahead, Shane. I'm sorry.
I completely agree with the way you're reacting is how I thought I would be reacting. That was my mentality going into it. Completely.
Well, see, I went to this movie I just didn't know what I had no expectations. Like, all right, let's see what this is like. And so when I saw, like, when he started the voiceover, I'm like, what is this? and I think Julian's right on the money about the caption box. I didn't think of that. I think it's a great point.
Yeah.
And every time he started doing that, I'm like, oh, he sounds so overwrought. And I'm just like, okay.
All right. He try hard.
And I just, it took me out of it. And again, I think it has to go, like, Shane, I think you're right. If they show that progression in the next movie, great. I might even like this one even more then.
Yeah.
But for we've also, we've seen so many different Batmans in such a relatively short period of time that this version, that took me out of it. But I will also say this also bothered me, because they've done this twice now. There's a new trend now where we're going to trash Thomas Wayne. So in Joker, he's a complete heel, complete heel. Like you
Oh,
can't
yeah.
stand him.
He's Bloomberg.
Awful person.
Yeah.
And in this movie, he's like this morally compromised guy who basically got someone murdered. And I'm like,
No, he just made one mistake.
he made one mistake.
He made
It was a
one
big
mistake.
mistake.
It was a huge mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a huge mistake.
Yeah.
But what I like about the way they sold it was that like he was desperate to protect
His wife.
Martha.
Yeah. I get it.
And he made
Yeah.
the mistake like, yo, what else do you think this man is going to do? Even though he owes you because you saved his life.
Yeah.
What else do you expect this man to do? Now, on a quick tangent, Chris, I understand your feelings. Because I didn't like Tom Holland's Spider-Man until the last movie, but everybody liked him. So
well,
I'm
because he became Spider-Man in the last movie. That's one of the reasons
I had a lot of issues.
Yeah.
And I let people rock. I'm like, this ain't for me. I got Toby. I'm good. That's all I need. But it's like the last one, I was like, oh. So like, I'm not gonna say anything you saying is wrong.
Yeah.
But you know, it could still stay in a way what you don't like. I just right now there's so much potential.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I can see the potential. Absolutely.
Here's three reasons why this is my Batman. Okay, you mentioned masks. Number one, he can move his head.
Well, that is a plus.
Yeah. It was absolutely brilliant to do the pop collar.
Yeah. So
and have that be, like the top of the outfit.
Yep.
You won't be able to see it, but they kind of have that design here on the toy, the McFarlane thing. The problem with it
there we go.
Is back here, it's really a collapsed cow.
Yeah.
You can see the ears popping out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think on this particular thing, McFarlane missed the boat because it's a pop collar that's there for some stability and support of his neck if it gets thrown back. So when I saw this, I'm like, I don't know. But when you get to the movie, you're like, oh, well, that makes a hell of a lot more sense. It looks great.
Yeah.
Shane, you got to get the hot toy version then. You got to save up. I
don't have that kind of money.
I guess
they take payment plans, Shane. They take payment plans.
That's a big payment plan.
Oh, yes, it is.
What were you saying, Mert?
My guess is McFarlane was working with an earlier draft of the costume design.
I feel so.
Yeah.
And there is an unmasked version of this, which this makes perfect sense. They just didn't change it for the masked version. They just flopped the masked head on, which again, cost cutting, makes sense.
Sure. Here's my number two reason why this is my favorite Batman that we've gotten, at least in recent memory. I can understand him. Okay, because there's none of this going on. No more of the gravel, which I am got so tired of from Christian Bale. And while the voice changer for Ben Affleck was cool enough, it was also incredibly corny. And it took me out of his performance as well after a while. Pattinson. He just talks. That's it. He talks. Yeah. He darkens his voice a little bit to the point of what do I love so much about Batman the Animated Series is you can distinctly tell when Batman is Batman and when Bruce Wayne is Bruce Wayne. And although we don't get a lot of talking Bruce Wayne moments in this, as it is mostly just Batman and the cowl outside of the moments where he's at the Iceberg Lounge and what have you, or at the funeral, I can still distinctly tell the difference between the two. And we're going to get further down that road here with the next movie and future iterations where it's probably going to be even that more distinctive. But he's that much more commanding. And that's the third reason why he's my favorite Batman, because the actual Babe Magnet is not Bruce Wayne. The Babe Magnet is Batman. And that's where I felt the most of the Bat and the Cat was, the attraction between the two of them. I don't think she would be attracted to Bruce Wayne, at least not how he is here. But
not yet.
No. But the swagger and the personality and the darkness and the aloofness of this Batman was exactly what she was attracted to. And that's the Batman that works so well in the comic books for me. So those are my three reasons right there why this dude just worked for me in so many different ways.
Ian, one thing I would say about, I think you're right about and I loved Christian Bale as Batman overall, and I thought his Bruce Wayne is the best we've ever seen in movies, frankly.
Yeah.
But the voice definitely got too much.
Yeah.
But I think where they had the right balance in Batman Begins, when he pulls Flash up on that cord.
Yeah.
And he scares the living bejesus out of him.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember watching the scene going, oh my God, that's Batman. Like, because he became terrifying.
Yeah.
And then they just went and he just started talking like that all the time, and it just kind of killed it. But
Yeah.
I think you have a good point there.
And Chris, I'm right there with you. The tragedy of Thomas Wayne, and I understand why they did it this way, and I agree with Julian's oh my God, summary of it. That did take me out of it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I get it. Like, I mean, everybody has feet of clay, and obviously, it's a long way from like a Silver Age like version of a character where everything's clean and squeaky. So I get that, but I don't know. I just feel like sometimes in some of these films or any kind of media that they want to, we want to show how everybody's really dark and corrupt. So they throw in that angle.
Yeah.
And oftentimes in real life, things really are like that. I mean, most families are screwed up in some way, and there's always issues. But it felt a little forced to me. I didn't really buy it. At all, frankly.
I also think that. I personally think that the way in which they used Thomas Wayne and the renewal fund and his running for mayor, I think this works for me because one thing I hate online. I hate the past couple of years, maybe 4, maybe at this point, where it became a thing with certain people on the social media, like to say, Batman basically sucks because he could just solve all the problems with money. Now we know people who read comics that in the DC universe, you just can't solve evil with money because my guy, Darkseid's there, Lex Luthor has the same amount of money.
Yep.
Whole bunch of rich bad guys.
Yeah.
Bad guys don't care. There's flying aliens. There's bad aliens. There's a whole bunch of stuff. You just can't just give write some checks and everything's over there, go away. I like the fact within the story, a key component is the renewal fund.
Yeah.
So the Waynes gave the city money to deal with things that are hurting the city. And what happened? People's corruption ruined it.
Yeah.
So this argument that you could just say have a bunch of money and you're going to clean up society's issues, which we've seen in real life, doesn't work.
Yeah.
They put in the movie with Batman is like, guess what? It doesn't work. And I think they needed to use Thomas Wayne in that by the fact that like his corruption is he made this fund. His wife was attacked. He wanted to save his wife.
Yeah.
He made a deal with the devil. Then he ended up dying. It kind of corrupts his legacy to a point, but they actually literally corrupt his legacy.
Exactly.
Which was to clean up the city.
Yep.
After I'm dead.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point because you look at any kind of massive like every relief efforts after disasters. There's always money that goes where it shouldn't, and there's corruption. And look at another way. Probably the wealthiest person on earth is Vladimir Putin. So there you go.
Lex Luthor, baby. Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor on a horse.
The other thing story-wise that didn't throw me was Selena Kyle being Falcone's daughter.
Yeah, I'm of two minds of that.
Yeah. It's from the Long Halloween Dark Victory.
I don't remember that part of it. And part of my point in saying that for this movie is like so many other movies, and I don't just mean Batman, I mean so many other movies. I don't always like when they tie every single character together in some way so close-knit that because Thomas Wayne talked to Falcone, Falcone's got a daughter, this daughter's now hooked up with Batman a little bit. Like it's all just a little too tight. I would have been perfectly fine if she was just Selena Kyle without that part of it in the movie, considering they're using Thomas Wayne and all this. I'll have to look that up. I really don't remember that as part of Dark Victory or Long Halloween.
Yeah, and When in Rome, or like the whole little trilogy of like that's when they said that I was like, you guys are you guys are really digging it. They digged into that story more than any other film because you watch Batman Begins, it's like, oh okay, I see you putting some Long Halloween,
a little bit here.
But this one I was like, y'all might took already half the story already. Like y'all got holidays in it, y'all got dates. And I was like, oh, okay, like, and a little bit of Hush too. So it's like, I think at the time, Long Halloween wasn't continuity, but like, it's Catwoman. It works for this. It works for this movie because it shows a certain thing with the Falcone character where it looks like that's how he murders women.
Mm-hmm. And let's talk about Falcone for a minute and the amazing John Turturro.
Well, he's amazing in everything.
Welcome surprise. I didn't know he was in it either.
I didn't either. When I saw it, I thought, oh wow.
Yeah.
Now we're in for a treat.
I knew Falcone was going to be in it. I had no idea Turturro was playing him, and now I can't see anybody else playing Falcone because he knocks it out of the park in so many ways. Because not only do you see him being, the man who runs everything, which he is in this movie, but he's also, even when you think he's being sincere and possibly even showing a moment of vulnerability, he immediately proves to you that that's all part of the act. And no, I am a man to be feared.
Well, it's such a monstrous portrayal, and because it's especially monstrous because it's so real. Like, you can imagine someone like that.
Mm-hmm.
This is not like a supervillain. This is a cold-blooded killer who casually manipulates people, including his own offspring.
Yep.
For his own self-interest. So it was a great performance.
Oh, absolutely.
And what I'm dying to know what you guys think of the Penguin, because that's one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Okay, so
Colin Farrell, the god,
blew me away.
Okay,
I was floored by it.
Yeah, I actually I'll also recommend if you haven't watched Colin Farrell's Hot Ones episode on YouTube, do so immediately, because I have more respect now for Colin Farrell after this and listening to him like just have a casual conversation than I've ever had before. Because this seems like a guy you could just sit down and just like go to a bar with, and he'll tell you your life story, and you'll fall in love with him afterwards. But my God, the transformation he went on
It's amazing.
Amazing.
It's superb. Like, he looks like Richard Kind. Like they completely like transformed him into somebody entirely different. And I would have thought I would have gotten lost in that. I would have thought that it was fake or that it didn't look real enough, but it looks so real.
And I was trying to pick out Colin in it, and I could not.
No, you really can't. I mean, because he's a good-looking guy. I mean,
I was trying to listen for just some slip in dialogue or just something to give me that was almost as perfect as it gets.
And what's also interesting is that obviously the Penguin is often portrayed in a very cartoonish way in like the comics, of course, the Keaton film. I mean, Keaton film basically was a penguin for all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
And this was a real guy.
Yeah.
Who, he's the Penguin, there is the aspect in the nose, and like the image Ian shows is perfect here.
Mm-hmm.
But it was right off the page in the best possible way. Like the lounge, his whole demeanor, everything about him. Like it was, for me, this is the most exciting part of the whole film. I'm just floored by this performance.
It's an amazing performance. I love the fact that he chose to pull from Robert De Niro's take of Al Capone in The Untouchables as inspiration.
Yes.
Because it's like the Penguin, because now the Penguin is, you go with the Penguin, it's like, it's like why is he the Penguin? He goes, like he does all this thing, and then you get the Tim Burton when he's like eating fish raw, lived in the sewer. You even play the Arkham games, he got the Cockney accent, like, he's a London, miscreant, he out here. But this one was like, he's called the Penguin because he got cut in the face and he looks a certain way now. So all the Italian homies call him the Penguin. Because it's like, nah, you look like a penguin now. Whatever is like Ozzy over here look like a penguin, eh? Like you look like, oh, okay. Yep. That's how you got your name. And in fact that he was like, oh, you a snitch? It's like I was like, oh. I was like, there was rumors he was going to get a show. I was like, come on, Colin, sign that dotted line. I want 10 episodes of this. You gonna give me Italian mobster? I'm gonna get Sopranos with the Penguin. I need this right now.
Yep. And he's right on the cusp of taking over everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
The wingless bird moment, where they
Yep.
thought that he was the stool pigeon, that he was the one that ratted everybody out, and just where they went with that and everything afterwards, it's just so pitch perfect. And it's a version of the Penguin. Again, it's so different than Danny DeVito's, because Danny DeVito's was the cartoonish one. This is more the grounded Penguin that we've gotten in the comics over the past 20, 30 years now.
Yeah.
That's he is himself a kingpin of Gotham, and running the Iceberg Lounge. Sometimes he's quote unquote gone clean, and then we find out that no, he's just running something else. And it all works just beautifully with the character.
I really like that they played us for him not being the snitch then.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It gives me so much hope for what this character is going to go through if he shows up again.
Definitely.
See, for me, it feels different from the comics, because again, in the comics, they always play for this
Fifth Avenue rich.
this guy who's trying to be this upper class,
Yeah.
hoity-toity,
Mm-hmm.
this type of rich guy, but I do crime. I run guns. I got the club. Like no, this is Paulie.
Yeah.
Paulie.
Yep.
Like this is Ozzy. He's from over there around Kane. Kane and what's another Batman creator's name? And
Finger.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kane
Kane and Figure
Finger.
Street. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
On the south side.
Yeah, his dad ran the corner store. He ran that protection racket. His uncle had the numbers.
Yep.
And it's like he worked his way up, and he was number 2. Like I like how they played it. That he used to work for Maloney, but it basically like Falcone was able to coalesce all of the Italian gang, all the organized crowds into him. So now he was the number 2. So he was the number 2, and he was like, I was like, that's how you set up a show. Because when I got to the end, people was like, oh man, what's going on? I was like, no, they setting you up for the Penguin. I don't need the next Penguin movie. I know I'm getting 10 episodes of my guy. Like he doesn't need any more in the movie, because he about to get a whole Emmy nominated TV show.
Yeah.
Because what he's doing right here, for instance, what you said, I was like, and the people who didn't know that was Colin Farrell, you hit them on the side like, yo, that's Colin Farrell. That's Colin. That's SWAT right there. That's whatever that movie and with the snow and him traveling through time to find his love.
Hey, come on, that's Bullseye we're talking about. Okay,
that's Bullseye.
Oh God,
that's the
Irish
that's
Bullseye.
The best part of the first Fantastic Beasts movie that I was so sad when he turned into Johnny Depp at the end. I was like give me more bad guy Colin Farrell, and Matt Reeves was like, I got you, fam. I got you.
What'd you think of it, Merd?
Well, you guys remember a while ago when I said that I was on board with most interpretations of the characters in this movie except one?
Okay.
Yeah, and this is not to take anything away from what you guys have said so far, and certainly not to detract from Colin Farrell's totally immersive, as Chris likes to say, masterful portrayal of this character that was written for him. The problem I have is that it's not the Penguin. All right, it's for exact. Julian was saying that this is not the upper crust kind of monocle wearing pseudo respectable Penguin of the comics, but personally, I think that the Penguin works best when he does have that aristocratic bearing to him. He doesn't necessarily have to be waddling with a cigarette holder and a gimmicked umbrella all the time. But they go from that straight to, hey, yo, I'm Ozzy. How you doing? Whack, whack, and whatnot. I'm sorry. They're basically just giving us Tony Zuko and calling him the Penguin. The Penguin is not Tony Zuko. He's not Paulie. He's Oswald Chesterfield. Some of my the best takes of the Penguin there have been have played up the fact that he's he either aspires to respectability or in some cases actually has it. There have been some iterations of the Bat lore in which the Cobblepots were founding families of Gotham, right up there with the Canes and the Waynes and what have you.
And the Arkhams, for that matter.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about that cartoon show on the
Batman.
CW called The Batman a while ago
Yep.
was that the Penguin was shown as like a contemporary of Bruce Wayne. Like they
Yeah,
went to
that
the
was
same
a good
boarding
take.
schools and whatever. But he
Yeah.
decided to turn to crime, and he had the wacky umbrellas and everything, and that was fine. But what we got here, just to me, he's just a generic capo, and there's not enough of that Penguin panache. I mean, the fact that he's talking with that accent is what really gets me. He doesn't have to have a Cockney accent necessarily, but there needs to be some refinement in there. Now, the one thing I really did like about this take on the Penguin, now besides, no, again, all credit to Colin Farrell. He deserves plenty of kudos for this performance, and the makeup artists deserve a freaking Oscar nod. I think we can all agree on that.
Yep.
But the beat in this movie that really made me think of this character as the Penguin I know. It's right after that gratuitous car chase we get, which introduces us to the Batmobile, which is kind of a conversation in itself, which I hope we'll get to in a minute.
Yes.
And finally, Batman and Gordon have cornered him, and it is the Penguin, not Gordon and not Batman, who realizes that the Riddler's intentional misuse of gendered articles, L and la, is a clue.
Yeah.
See, the Penguin, he's a logophile. He's like me. He collects advanced and obscure bits of vocabulary. I remember one issue of the Batman Adventures comic book in which he actually has his thugs like collect obscure words and like quiz him with them while they're hanging out in their hideout. And that goes right to the heart of my understanding of the Penguin. And we don't get that much with this version. One of his most memorable lines is, "I'll spray paint your ass," and that's that the Oswald Cobblepot I know would say. But the fact that he figures out this one little niggling detail of grammar that that leads to an important clue for the detectives. That felt like the Penguin. The rest of it just felt like generic Goomba. And I'm still going to watch this upcoming HBO Max series. I want to see.
I hope you
the
get
background of
what
this
you
character
want.
to see if maybe he's not just the generic Italian mobster he appears to be here. Maybe this Goomba act is as much an act for the character as it is for the actor playing the character.
You may be
I
right.
I hope so.
Yeah, you.
I hope you get a little. I hope you get some of that, like where he does strive to be like respectable and
Yeah.
rebuild the community to build this front or whatever.
Yep.
But side note, was I the only one that felt that the twins was Tweedledee and Tweedledum?
Yes, I was thinking that.
Because when I saw the twins, I was like, "Y'all got Tweedledee and Tweedledum. We out here." Like,
Oh my god! And I love the difference between when Batman's trying to get into the club, and then when Bruce is trying to get into the club, and like that's Bruce. You're Bruce Wayne. Oh, come on in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, look who's at the door. It's Bruce Wayne.
Adam, I completely agree with you. I would prefer Penguin to be the hobnobby, highfalutin rich guy, but I'm glad we didn't get Fish Face again.
Yeah, we don't need the mutant sewer dwelling Penguin.
No.
That had its moment. It was a take, but move on from that.
And
I also didn't really care for the.
Yeah,
I didn't care for the Iceberg Lounge as like an underground industrial rave either. But maybe it makes more sense to have like a 30s style supper club with a dance orchestra and a hat.
But if he takes control of the mobs, you may see that in the future.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
remember that it was a club inside the club. There was the Iceberg Lounge, and then for those, as a person that does go outside, sometimes you're in some places and you get to go behind some doors and you end up in some other place. Like, this is wild different.
Yep.
Okay, I like the fact that they had that in the Iceberg Lounge. That like, you
Club 44 was it?
Yeah, like you went to there was a club. It looked like a club. Like, that people gonna go to. They're gonna shake. They're gonna get something to eat. They're gonna, what I'm saying, they're gonna dance. And Batman really beat up a lot of people there. But when they had the secret club, I was like, oh, they got scrippers in there. Like they doing all types of bad. They do it all. Okay.
It reminded me of the times that I've been to speakeasies where, like you need to know like the secret knock or you find the hidden bookcase and then you open it up and then there's another room in the back with a completely different experience. Like I went to one where there was a coffee shop and you wouldn't know that the wall was a door unless you were looking for it. And then you open it up and there's this full bar immediately behind it in New York City. It's awesome like that. and this was a similar experience.
Amazing. Now Levinstein is time traveling back to Prohibition. Your skills are no bounds, sir.
Let's time travel with this
What's in my
one
baby?
beast. Oh my God. This muscle car worked for me on so many levels.
Yeah, I liked it too.
Exactly that.
I liked it a lot more in the film versus everything I saw leading up to it.
By the power of Dominic Toretto. We have a Batmobile.
Right.
We have a Batmobile that's a car.
It's
not
all
a
about
military vehicle. It's not a tank. It's not
Right.
crazy
It's not a
looking.
freaking urban assault vehicle.
It's a car.
Built for
Where
speed.
he put a jet on it. He put a jet on the back.
Yep.
Reinforce the front and go.
Oh my God. That scene where he jumps over the truck or tanker or whatever it was, and we see the scene from the trailer essentially with, I beat him.
Got him.
And then
I got you.
and that upside down shot of Batman walking out of the car and what have you.
Yeah. And just leaning over at him.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And yeah, the car works. Although now, thanks to you, Julian, I have stuck in my head, it's all about Bat Family.
It's all about the family. The family inspired this car.
Yeah.
The family. I like the way when you first saw it and it was just roaring. The way it was revving up, the little lights and the little lights in the engine. It was just like, and they were looking at it like Catwoman was like, "What is? That's the car.
Yeah,
that's the car."
If Batman is the Lord of the Underworld, then this is his Cerberus. This is his hellhound roaring to be released.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's believable, like the one, like I love the Tumbler for what it was in the Nolan films, but the fact that like, oh yeah, we just happen to have this military vehicle just lying around. You want to repurpose it? Like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Like no, he got this off the lot and basically just rebuilt it to his own means afterwards. Like that's what works for this. And for that matter, let me see if I can find a picture of the cave, because his cave in this movie is so well designed, and I love that like they put in the the underground railroad aspect of it.
The old train station, the old subway station. I was like, that's cool. And the fact that he had the car up on the lift. And you saw he was working on this thing regularly. Like he's playing with the pistons, he's getting into the engine and the transmission, he's getting the wheels and the suspension right. It's like, when I take this out, ooh.
And no offense to the stuff we got with Tony Stark, where he's using a computer model and Jarvis to figure everything out. This was all bare bones grunt work.
Hands is dirty, oil, grease.
I liked so you take the car, you take the bat cycle, his motorcycle, even his batarang, all of that is there, and it and you see it, but you can tell it's all made by him and it all serves a purpose, and none of it to me was overdone or in your face.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look at it.
Yep. It works, and also like the fact that there's no giant penny or what have you or anything of that. Yet, exactly, because we're still year 2 here. Like he hasn't gotten to that point.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, but there are bats flapping around. There's that much.
There are,
and I like that it's
still. Oh, go ahead.
It's underneath the tower. It's underneath Wayne Tower.
It's Wayne Tower again. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, Wayne Tower. That is so over the top gothic. The interiors there. It would make Tim Burton say, that's a little much. I straight up live in a cathedral.
When they changed that, I'm like, how did he get back to Wayne Manor? I didn't think we'd see that here. I'm like, wait, that's in the tower. That part didn't look quite right.
You know why I like that? Because it didn't look like Pittsburgh. It didn't look like Chicago.
Yeah. All right.
Like they built a set.
Yeah.
That this is Gotham. And hey, the Waynes, they was living lavish. They out here putting full on extra stuff in this tower penthouse, whatever. I'm like,
just like because they could.
Like, like people build things in this. It's not like, oh, you found a nice location.
Yeah.
This is where we're filming. This is where Batman lives. Like, no, y'all built where Batman lives. And you built this cave. And y'all spent money building sets. Cinema, y'all. Cinema.
I wonder if they had inspiration for this in particular from essentially the hidden subway station under Grand Central that FDR used to use.
Good reference, Ian.
I don't know if that's where they got it, but that's immediately where my brain went, just knowing about the history of that. That like it's literally this unused, subway station. And that's kind of the inspiration of this in some ways. And yeah, it's terrific. And the architecture, like not just going New York and Chicago, even though clearly like the rivers were Chicago, like the river bridges were Chicago. You get a little bit of Pittsburgh architecture in there as well, but you also get like London and Scotland and like all these other Gothic things like moving together to create its own personality. Way more than you got in previous movies.
Yeah.
It's great.
Departure question, because we haven't mentioned yet. I really was intrigued to know what you fellas thought about, shall we say, the insertion of the teaser villain at the end.
Yes. Yeah. So okay.
I didn't care for it personally.
No, I thought that out of everything, I thought that was
I thought it fell flat as hell.
Yes, forced is an excellent word for it, Gene. And I'm not a fan of the casting. I mean, I got to give him a chance, but still.
Who's the actor? I'm sorry, I don't know who it is.
Barry Keoghan. He's the guy who played Druig in Eternals.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, but he also was in like what was it? Killing of a Sacred Dog was
Sacred Deer, right?
A Sacred Deer. Yeah, thank you. Killing of a Sacred Deer, where that and Dunkirk and a bunch of other places where I could certainly see him embodying the role really, really well. I've liked him in pretty much everything that I've seen him in, and he was one of the bright spots of Eternals, even though I enjoyed that movie in general way more than some of the other critics did. He can certainly play creepy and sadistic and make it work. I will
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, sorry. I paused and it was a long pause. I certainly do think they could have pulled it off a little bit better in this, but at the same time, I appreciate what they're trying to build, where we may not even see this guy in the second movie. Like,
I hope we don't. Because
I don't think we will.
Batman is widely known to have, besides Spider-Man, the greatest rogues gallery in comics.
Yes.
There's so many other villains like you can use. We don't need to go to the Joker right away.
I agree with you.
Like, bring in Killer Croc, bring in Black Mask, bring in a whole ton of different
Bring
villains.
in the freaking Mad Hatter.
The Mad Hatter, there you go. I mean, come on.
The ventriloquist, come on.
Oh.
Calendar Man.
I'm all for that.
Why that scene worked for me?
Yeah,
is because to me it showed that like this Batman has already dealt with that.
Mm-hmm.
He's already locked up.
Yeah,
that's why there's a Joker gang.
Yeah,
that's with all this stuff. So it's like, yeah, you show us that he's in jail already. He's here. But to me, it was a relief. It was like, oh no, is the Joker gonna come down? Like, nah, him and Jim Gordon crossed that bridge.
Yeah,
Homeboy's locked up.
Yeah.
That, and I read enough of the interviews, and when I saw he was like he's interested in Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
And the way my mind started working, like, okay, if the Riddler is going against political and government corruption within the city, then the next thing you could use Mr. Freeze as a statement about corruption within capitalism and business within the city. So like, I can already see like this Batman versus institutions, or
we need Julian to write the screenplay, man. I love what you're saying.
Yeah.
So like, because they always also said there was a 20-minute scene that they cut out of the movie because it didn't work, where it was like Batman goes to Joker to like on some Hannibal Lecter, like, yo, you wilding. I don't totally get this guy. And then Joker gives him some, they go back and forth, and then Batman gets an epiphany through the Joker and leaves. I like the fact he was like, "No, we don't need that."
Yeah.
But then
that would not
he
have
ran
worked
with
for me.
he ran with the test, and then they like that. The people who saw it like the whole like, oh, if it builds interest. But I really think that like we get Mr. Freeze next movie. I think we're gonna get other people as well, but I think Mr. Freeze is gonna be the main. Because the last time Matt Reeves said, like, I'm really interested in the Riddler. And he was like, oh, what Riddler was like, then it became the Riddler. So I was like, I'm listening to what this man say. He's not saying things all willy nilly. And I
Yeah.
can also feel because when I saw it in my press screening, none of my my critic friends was like, it was like, oh no, not Joker again. I was like, hold on. I know, I understand. He had a whole $1 billion movie. I also think Joker's going to not be a focus because literally the Joker made $1 billion. So
let's also be super glad that they didn't try to insert Joaquin Phoenix into this, which I was super worried that they were going to do because that just made no sense whatsoever.
It can't now because this Batman, Thomas Wayne was out here running for mayor in like 2001 or something.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it just can't happen. I was like, this is really young. You can't throw him in here at all. Like, good job.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not unless the multiverse is in play.
Well,
yes, which it is in an entirely separate movie with entirely separate Batman. So
yeah, have Michael Keaton fight Joaquin Phoenix. It's okay. Like,
why not? Why not?
I'd pay to see that.
Yeah, it's like I dealt with one of you guys before. I'll beat you up too. I may be old, but I'll beat you up too.
but yeah, certainly time to go to the well of other Batman villains, and I think that was just in there to expand the universe more than be like, hey, guess what's coming next? Hey. So
and Julian, I agree. When that happened and you realize it's the Joker, and I'm like, whew, okay, that's already done. Don't have to look at that again.
And again, another tangent, not a complete tangent, but like, this is the movie where the bad guys have thugs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We got Riddler gang.
Yep.
We had the Joker gang. I was like, I've been waiting for like a different take on the Batman thugs. Like when you watch Batman 66, it's like, look, they got all those other guys just dressed up like them for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, how did they get these guys? Like, like how did this happen? And then you never see that in the movie. Like, even watch The Dark Knight, like, Joker had guys, but they weren't like Joker thugs,
Yeah.
You kind of had that in the Schumacher stuff, but it was like almost, it was too much. It's like, but this is just like, oh, you literally got a gang of kids running around with face paint, messing up people. And I was like, and then the Riddler had people running around dressed up as him, like, well, we just gonna shoot up everybody in Madison Square Garden. My bad, Gotham Square Garden. That looked exactly like Madison Square Garden. I was like,
yeah, I know.
Oh wow, go Gotham Knights. They probably lose just like the Knicks.
The exact same font on the outside, like the exact same setup. Like, oh man.
But I was like, thugs.
And my favorite part about it, was them inserting the fact that you can basically create a Riddler kit by going to your local Home Depot and putting together all the pieces. Like, yeah, that's what made it work.
I will say that's the one part that did make sense for his costume, was that he could make everybody he wanted to a Riddler to do and confuse everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely.
It was wonderful.
I wanted to touch on two more topics here, and then we can get into our final thoughts. We didn't touch that much on the actual relationship between Alfred and Batman in this, and I know that this is certainly a departure from other iterations because it's not exactly as friendly as it has been in the past. But then again, this is also year 2 Batman, and he's a broody man. So like he's kind of mad at the world, and I can understand why he'd also simultaneously be mad at, you're not my real dad. So,
boy.
Well, I was
a little close to home, huh?
I was frustrated about that in the beginning when he first snapped at Alfred.
Yeah.
Even thinking about him being mad at the world, I was like, but even in Christian Bale's movies, even in any movie, whenever Batman doesn't care about his name, his family image, and all that, he still cares about Alfred. So at first I'm like, I don't know. But as the movie person, Alfred got hurt. And then it came all the way around where he realized what could happen. He fixed it.
What a
and
scene
he came around.
What a scene too, where you found out like no, bad things have already happened. Like when he
yeah.
So when Aunt Harriet answered the phone, because that's what I'm calling her, when Aunt Harriet was like, we've already had, like, I was like, oh snap. I was like, yeah, like antagonistic, like young man and older man, parental figure, butting heads.
Yep.
And him figuring out, I was like, oh, I can't lose Alfred. And the fact that like, this man is attacking Alfred. Like,
Yep.
I
As
gotta get
soon
back
as-
home.
As soon as he got in the Batmobile and was tearing off and frantically calling and screaming, and
Yeah.
it made me feel better. And then the whole rest of it plays out where he really comes to Alfred and realizes what he could lose, and then I was fine.
I concur with Shane completely. I really enjoyed Andy Serkis in the role.
Oh yeah.
And I really want to see them do more with him because he has the gravitas that Alfred should have.
Mhm.
He's also like, we all often, well, I don't know if we forget, but people often forget that, Alfred in various iterations was like a soldier or
Sure.
a mercenary or something. So he's not someone he's someone who can handle himself.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
Serkis has like that physical gravitas too that I
Yep.
thought really worked.
It's a little closer to not only the Earth 2 Batman hardcover novels that
Mhm.
have been out,
Yeah.
but also the like computer animated Batman. What was that one called? Beware the Batman.
Right?
Beware the Batman.
Oh,
Beware the
yeah,
Batman.
okay.
It's closer to those two things.
Hey, with the big hulking Alfred with the bowler hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, it's like for most people, I think for a lot of us, it was the way in which the animated series had that whole episode of like, oh yeah, Alfred was really like a spy back in the day.
Mhm.
And I think they took that nugget
Yeah.
in the Nolan films. It was like with the I think the Michael Caine was the first version for the masses to see, like, and the way they had like, oh, it's Michael Caine. And Michael Caine, he's the Italian Job. He's out here doing all these things like, oh,
Sure.
this Alfred, and then the way he was talking about, I was up in the jungle and we was doing
Oh,
all
it's a
this.
great scene. Yeah.
Oh, Alfred was really out here with the chopper. He was out here really soldiering. So I think that you go from that and you get to this Andy Serkis. You look at him with the sleeves rolled up. It's like, let me look at this.
Yep.
Put my glasses on. It's like, oh, this was really in the mix.
I'll even give you Michael Caine calculating and manipulative Michael Caine from Death Trap, which I
Oh.
absolutely love.
Yeah,
that
I'm
movie.
saying,
Love to
like,
see that movie.
Oh,
It's the
Yeah.
meta narrative of the actor. That when you saw Michael Caine as Alfred, this is a different Alfred. When you see Jeremy Irons as Alfred, it's like, oh,
Mhm.
this is the man that fought my man John McClane. He was
Yep.
feeling gold. Like,
yeah.
you see these things where oh, these guys is with the
They've been
They
around.
They can fight. They can do something. And so you see Eddie, and this is like house manager Alfred. This ain't butler Alfred. Like, he got a staff. Like, he's not even getting you your breakfast. Like, as I'm calling her, or Harriet, she done set the table. She got the ill jams and marmalades and the croissants that you ain't eating because you all in your feelings. And my man Alfred already with the cipher out. Like, yo, these letters ain't matching up. Something's off here. You kind of messing up on that. It's like, oh, really? Let me, like, I love how they was like, Batman was really working with people. Like, he would work with Gordon, and they was like, all right, we got to talk this out. We got to do this. And then he's at home, and Alfred's like, yeah, you off on this.
Yeah.
I've been looking at this for 15 minutes. and I can already see that you ain't calculate this right. It's like, oh, okay. Like,
I totally missed that. Was the maid called Anne Harriet?
No, I just called her.
No.
She got no name. But she looked like on Harriet. She had like the little reddish hair.
Yeah.
Short. I'm like,
Now, see, that would be brilliant.
Did
and
any,
they had the bus. They
I
had
was
the
gonna
bus
say.
in the thing.
I was gonna
like, I
say.
see you.
I
I
know-
see you.
I
see
noticed the
you.
bust immediately and was so happy to see it because
That's why I call her on Harriet. Because
Yeah. Yep.
I got no name yet. So she on Harriet.
As Alfred was toiling away right before the bomb went off, like, to see the bust just made me.
I saw earlier at breakfast. I was hitting people in the shoulders. They got the bust.
I wonder if there's a button under there.
They got the bust.
Now,
They gonna make the polls.
and what a year for Andy, or at least what a couple of months for Andy Serkis. He went ahead and directed Venom 2, and that did wonders at the box office. And now here he is back at acting, and knocking it out of the park here with Alfred. And I'm just happy to see Andy Serkis not CGI. Because he does such a great job of motion capture, but actually seeing him do his acting chops the way he has of late, it just makes me very, very happy. So
He was great as Claw in Black Panther.
yes,
So-
he was.
He was wasted. He was wasted. I'm mad. Still mad.
I won't disagree with that either.
Claw's supposed to be an energy man.
That's true. That's true.
Man made out of sound.
We can still get there.
No, we can't. He's over. They
Eh,
gotta make a son, like they did in that Avengers game. They made it Ulysses Claw Jr. I was like, okay, you made it work. Okay, thank you, Avengers video game.
Son of Claw with a K.
I gotta have my sound, man. That's one of Come on, save the villains.
Let's talk about the end of the movie and how it hit for you. Reminiscent of Dark Knight Rises in some ways, only instead of the bridges being blown, here the dams are being blown, the levees are being blown, and the city is being flooded. But the thing that I appreciate the most about this, one, this is where we got the Riddler gang in action, essentially, and two, that we get to see Batman the hero here, and a hero turn in general for Batman, where I think Bruce himself is starting to grow as a person, as this movie itself develops, and we're seeing that literally on the screen, and I was there for it. It worked.
Yeah. I think it was good that we saw him realize that, yes, everything he so far was sufficient to a certain extent, but in order to do what he really wants to do, he can't just be vengeful and brutal. He has to do something else. And this is what he's now going to do, because he realizes just what he can mean to the people of Gotham as well as the city.
Well put, Shane. Well put.
Definitely. Yep.
Yeah. I've never, I should say I haven't. It was interesting to see after the last 17 years of Batman movies, where he's publicly seen by the public, saving people, and not in the background where somebody say, well, oh yeah, Batman handled this.
Yeah.
He saved us. No, he's in the water. He has his flare up. Yep. I'm going to get you out of here. I'm going to get you in the EMT helicopter to get you to the hospital. I'm out in the daylight.
Yeah. And getting the general public who was afraid of him to not be afraid of him by doing those things.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. That the criminals fear the signal. Not everybody fears the signal. And him having that realization when the Riddler dude says, I am vengeance. And it's like, I've been messing. See, very rarely I think we get that actual like cinematic turn where the character makes the shift, learns the lesson, makes the change. And Batman made the change from, nah, I'm not, like, I'm justice, I'm a hero, I'm gonna save my city. And you get that in the Dark Knight Rises, when he sacrifices himself to a degree, and then he basically makes a new Batman, because he's like, actually, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is the public hero. Like, I can't do this. I need somebody else. Like, that Batman was always looking for somebody else to be the shining light for the city. Like, it's gonna be Harvey.
Yeah.
It's going to be. It could be this young guy that I inspired. But the fact that like he's sitting there looking at the light, and everybody sees him like it's Batman. And also for real second, yo, they had the Venom shot in it though from that.
That's right.
From that comic. I was like,
I thought that too.
I was like, oh, they got Venom.
Like, man.
I was like, that's a deep cut story they pulled.
Yeah, and that could go in some very dangerous directions.
At first, I thought that was just adrenaline. I'm like, nah, that's Venom.
Yeah, it's green.
Very specific shade of green. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's why he was taking bullets in the. That's why he was like, I could put this armor on, just walk out there. He out there juicing. I was like, like when you pulling from the different stories, it's like when it's not all Frank Miller, it's like I guess like okay, yeah, Frank is great, but like there's a lot of other people who did some amazing Batman stories, and when you start pulling those random issues out that only like people like us know, and you make it work in the movie,
and it was all so subtle and so perfectly placed.
I gotta save my bae. You can't kill Catwoman. I will kill all you guys. He was losing like, no.
Yeah. Yep.
My girlfriend. No.
Oh man.
But that was a great ending in there. Even the stuff with the epilogue where like they meet and they go their different ways, and she says Bat and Cat, and they both drive off on the bikes. I was like, this is good.
Satisfying. A very satisfying ending for me personally. Chris, how did that hit for you?
I mean, I agree with all the points you fellows are making. I mean, I like the way they ended the film. I like that they had him, and this is what gives me a little more hope that I might enjoy the next one more, is that he started to realize that there's more to his mission than just, talking with grunts and like, all that kind of stuff and being vengeance.
Yeah.
And I thought it was, I really enjoyed the scene where they part, because he can't be Batman and fulfill his war on crime if he goes off with Selena Kyle.
Yeah.
Even though I'm sure part of him, of course, wants to do that.
Yeah.
And Julian made me think of something very interesting when we think about that scene, and that, in the Nolan films, in the end, when he feels his war is done, that's what he does. He goes off with Selena Kyle to Florence.
Yep.
And which I mean, I thought that really worked in that version, but again, like you said, this is a much younger Batman, so we're nowhere near that point yet. So yeah, the ending worked for me. I already expressed what misgivings I had, but I got to say, you guys have made such great points that I'm more eager now to watch it on TV again, just to see how I feel about it a second time.
Sit down on the couch, relax, and be able to pause for bathroom breaks.
Pause it, say come back later,
Exactly. Murd, what'd you think of the ending?
Well, I agree that it was a good place for Bruce's arc for this movie to end. He gets out there, he sees his role in the city in a new light. He gets down there in the water and plays Moses for a minute, leading his people across the sea. And he's like, oh, okay. And then, as Julian said, he gets to stay out after the sun rises and just to do some things to help his people that doesn't involve just beating up on thugs and feeling sorry for himself in the shadows and the darkness. But yeah, kind of as Chris said, I think it's stronger as a starting point for future films, just a vantage point from which to look forward to future adventures of this Batman. I think it works better that way than it does as a resolution of the action of the movie it's in. And just to nitpick a little bit here, though, I mentioned there were a couple of plot holes I could mention. I'm not really feeling the logic of the Riddler's plan here at the end. He's been all about exposing the dishonesty and corruption of the Gotham regime to the people, and then he turns around and drowns those same people. I mean, what's the end game there? I don't really understand how that.
He felt that the whole city, you can't save it, so he would just kill everybody.
Okay, so
that's the way I think he goes from being like a bad guy that we got this thing now where people are like, oh yeah, the bad guy makes more sense than the hero. Not this movie. Like, he makes sense, and then he goes completely over the deep end. It's like, you brought up Moses. I will flood this like God itself. I will kill Sodom and Gomorrah. I will flood the earth. And just like, Batman's like, no, you can't kill like, I think it works for the character that like he's gone.
Yeah. It was his backup end game, essentially. Like,
he was going to be safe because he's in jail.
Yeah. But Shane, you have any other thoughts on the ending?
No, it worked for me in that way. I expected it to end with them going their separate ways, and I'm glad that they did. I think, again, like some of you have said, you can't have Batman at this point not want to continue to save his city and have Selena Kyle and go off with her as well. It's just not time for that yet. He's got to go back in and continue his fight, but in a different way.
And honestly, the shot I have here is a perfect example of how this Batman differs. Is the fact that we see this Batman, once night is over, watching over the city. That it's not just nighttime Batman. Like this. Yeah. This is a guy who wants to defend his city at all costs and cares a little bit less about being a myth than other Batmans have. We may get there at some point, but for now, front and center, I think enough people in this city know that Batman exists at this point. So they're kind of going a little bit of a different route.
Yes, the urban legend honeymoon is over now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you get a good look of the layout of Gotham itself here, and I dig that.
Did you guys also notice it feels like that his suit in this one is collapsible, because it seems like he goes out in his shadowy emo guy and then like goes behind a corner or something, and then like,
it's
Batman
backpack. Yeah,
like, I'm Batman now. Like, I was like, that's something we never really see in a Batman movie. Like, he always just home, he put on the armored suit, and he got to come back out. Yep. This Batman's like, I'm on my motorcycle. I'm gonna dip somewhere. I'm gonna go in the basement, put this on. I'm gonna come back out. I see stick his cape into the little area of the chest, and he's like, Well, he doesn't laugh. He's just like,
And the flying suit, darkness. The flying suit, that scene.
The squirrel suit
with the squirrel zipping up. I was like, I don't know where you had that, but good job.
Yeah.
That's my plot hole, Murd. I was like, I don't know where the squirrel suit came from. I was like, you already have it
all
there.
came from here. It's there.
Maybe that's the fly collar. Like maybe that's secretly that's if you take that off, it becomes a squirrel suit. I don't know.
Hey, he unfolded. Whatever. I want an explanation. In my Japanese superhero shows, they make little side videos where they show how they transform and how the other suits get made.
Yep.
Or how they transform. Like I want that for this suit. I just need him to say like he's talking to Alfred and like, look at my suit. I want to do this and I'm gonna unfold and then I can jump off of buildings. It's like, oh, okay, like yeah, do that. Like I want to know how that works. Like I can figure out you coming out as emo guy on the bike and then you come out as Batman. I know how that works. You got some of this under the clothes, you got the backpack and the look, but the suit, I don't. And with the parachute, where did where was all this?
And for that matter, if the suit is collapsible, where does he put his, takeoff batarang? Like does that just like go in his very, very deep pockets? Like that's
it's a belt buckle.
Oh yeah.
Again,
there you go.
I don't know. And the parachute, you know how big a parachute pack? It's not small. Like I don't.
It's pretty big.
I'm so confused.
It's microfiber.
But he hit his head.
It's microfiber.
Exactly. but yet again, that's how comic book this movie is that some things don't make sense, and that
didn't make no sense. That didn't make no sense, but it was cool. It worked.
The only other thing I want to say, and I know we said about how great the score was.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely loved the score throughout the entire film. I thought it took beats from 89 Batman music, newer Batman music, cartoon Batman music, and kind of melded it all together to be its own thing, but still just enough recognizable that you're in Gotham, you're watching Batman. It was so supportive in that way. I loved it.
I agree. Yep.
Fire. I enjoyed it.
It's the most kettle drum heavy Batman score we've ever had.
Certainly the case. All right, how many frickin' swears do we give it? Out of 5. Chris, what do you give it?
Let's call it a 3 pending.
Okay.
And I'll revisit it when I see it again, but right now it's a 3.
3 with an asterisk.
Yes, good way to put it.
Yes. Murd?
4.3. So we're between 4.25 and 4.5.
Okay. All right. Shane?
I'm going 4.5.
Julian?
Okay, I had to see what I actually gave it. So I'll give it a 4.5 because I was like, I don't want to contradict what I already put on Rotten Tomatoes. I gotta be consistent. So,
Nice.
I was like, hold on, let me look real fast. Like, oh, that's what I did.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands.
I saw the movie in February, y'all. So it's like
oh my God.
It's been a while that I wrote the review.
How do you keep it quiet since February? Holy crap!
It was like late February, but
okay.
Like even still, yeah.
And I mean, it did come out March 2nd or something like that. So that's
4th or whatever.
Well, okay. So behind the curtain in my mind, I was somewhat so uninterested in this. I didn't even remember what the release date was. I just knew I was going to see it with my kid probably around spring break time. So I totally missed the date was last week completely.
Yeah.
See, again, those Planet Apes movies had me like, I need this. When do I get to see this? You don't understand. Cobra with the F-16s or the horse shooting at the humans. I was like, okay, that's what we doing? And ever since I saw those movies, I was like, whatever he do, I gotta see it. Oh, he do Batman? They
I had booked tickets for the Thursday at the College Point movie theater in Queens, and then had to switch it to a theater here in the Bronx because the time didn't quite work. And I'd still have to see another movie there at some point, and maybe that'll be my Doctor Strange theater. But the theater was pretty damn packed when I went to see it, and I give it a 4.75. That's how high I'm willing to go for this one. 4 3/4 out of 5. So it's almost a full frickin' swear. It's a frickin' swear. And I really, really, really love this movie and can't wait to see it again. And I think my love of it is just going to grow over time, frankly. So, yeah. Julian, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Julian.
Thanks for having me back.
It was great to see you.
Our pleasure, man. It's like old times all over again.
Yeah, like talking about Batman R.I.P. and
Yeah.
making people like that. I get people to like Batman R.I.P.
Yeah, I don't know how Deemer's gonna fall on that scale, but
He's forgotten it exists. If
Yes.
he ever knew.
Most likely.
That's a good point.
very good point. Very good.
One
point.
day he'll see. One day he'll see the light. One day.
Uh,
One day he'll see the Morrison light.
yes.
He'll understand. I was right. You know what I'm saying? Dark side. You know what I'm saying? I was up there. I was promoting.
I just hear Deemer slamming. It's awful. It's incomprehensible. How can you possibly like this? Things like that. So.
Oh yeah. He said that. I was like, you need to listen to more rap music.
Where can
you
they
understand rap music? You can understand Morrison. It's not that hard.
That's crazy talk. Crazy talk.
Also, I don't remember it happened. Okay. Where can they find your stuff these days, Julian?
Oh well. Most of my movie reviews is on a site called adobe.com, which is a internet radio station focusing on alternative rock and pop punk and stuff like that.
Nice.
You can follow me on social media, Julian Lytle, Lytle. I'm not drawing much right now. I think as we stated earlier, like I consulted on the show Naomi. I'm like the comic book consultant. So you can watch that on CW Tuesdays,
Yes.
9:00 after Superman and Lois.
Awesome.
I got Captain Comet on the show. It's already a success. It's a success.
Man, I marked out so loud when I saw you post that to Facebook. I'm like, oh my, yes.
Yeah, Captain Comet isn't been filmed. He exists. Bird. I got Captain Comet into a filmed property. I didn't think it was possible, but it happened.
My fellow Adam. I love Captain Comet.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, that's mostly what I'm doing. I'm occasionally on a podcast I do with Daryl Taylor and Sean Pryor and Good Cologne called Culture Trapping.
Mm-hmm.
I might make an episode of my podcast called Ignorant Bliss. All the episodes are still up. I've just been too busy. You have no idea once you become like a full like a serious movie critic.
Oh sure.
The amount of emails you get to go, oh, watch this, go see this, go watch this. It's like record things, edit, and I still got a job, and I still got another job at the same time. 3 jobs at the same time. Yeah. Eventually, I'll get back to other things.
Yeah, it stacks up, man. I hear you. but thank you so much for taking time out.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for having me back.
Oh, absolutely our pleasure. And a note, speaking of Mr. Deemer, for those of you who are wondering, why'd they go out of order? That's so weird. Well, 1842 of Comic Geek Speak has been released on the feed, and you'll find that directly before this on the feed. And that's Mr. Rios and Mr. Deemer getting together for an old school comic talk.
Yeah, I gotta listen to that.
I started listening to it the other day.
Beautiful. An hour and 45 minutes of goodness. And they also have their own tribute to the one and only Jim Dietz on that as well. And once again, I raised my vitamin water in your honor there, Jim. So you're here on that. But yeah, before we wrap up, once again, a reminder to you fine patrons over at patreon.com/comicgeekspeak. Here to all of you and your continued support of the show. We'd be nothing without you. And we thank you so much for continuing to stick with us after.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Indeed. Shane, ready to be Shane.
Oakley dookly.
All you.
Visit us at comicgeekspeak.com to send us an email. The address is comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. To leave a voicemail, the number is 267-702-6642. Stop by thecomicforums.vanillacommunity.com and let us know what you like about the Batman or don't like. Follow us on youtube.com/comicgeekspeak. Follow us on Twitter. Like us on Facebook. Thanks to everyone who contributes to the episodes. Continue to send in Muddle the Merds because there will be more coming in episodes upcoming. And as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.
this movie was Nirvana.